Welcome to the show. Well, I have this theory that because of social media, we have all become starstruck with ourselves. I remember when Facebook first came along or MySpace first came along, I thought to myself, why would I ever post about me going to Starbucks? Well, these days, you know, a millennial or a Gen Z, not only are they going to post at Starbucks, but they're going to take a cute duck face selfie, and if they don't get enough likes and shares and retweets, they're upset with their fans. And I think the natural evolution of that is having your own television show. To talk about that today, Craig Duswalt. He is with Rock Your Life. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
I think you're in the business of celebritizing people. So let's talk about your career and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, really long story short, I got a job with Air Supply, and I just cut the short story off like 20 minutes. I got a job with Air Supply. I was working in a theater in Long Island. They came and did a show, and they took me away. So I toured with Air Supply for 7 years as the band assistant, just working backstage, just like getting them towels, getting them drinks, that type of thing. Did that for 7 years. They became dear friends of mine. Then the security guard for Air Supply became the manager of Guns N' Roses. So one day he calls me up and he goes, Craig, you ready to go back on the road? I'm like, what do I have to do? You have to babysit Axl Rose. I'm like, doesn't he go to jail a lot? Yes, but I'll pay you a lot of money. Okay, I'm in. So now I'm touring with Guns N' Roses for 4 years and as Axl's personal assistant. And then after that, I learned, I'm a marketing guy. I went to college for marketing. And I learned traditional marketing. But then I learned with Air Supply and Guns N' Roses, how do you get 80,000 people to come to a concert? What are the things that they do a little bit different than we do as a business? So now I teach entrepreneurs and corporate people how to be rock stars in their business. And so I learned all this stuff. And I said, how do I take the stuff that I learned and make money from it? And that's what I did. And so I started Rock Your Life.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but my sense is because we turn on CNBC and Fox Business and we see CEOs becoming rock stars of their company. I mean, when I was growing up, I don't know if I could name a single CEO of a Fortune 30 company.
Right.
These days, most millennials or Gen Zs can name them all. You know, they all became celebrities.
That's right.
Is it easier to get people to accept the idea that they have to be the face of their brand?
Yes, they have to be. Look, in this, like, how do you stand out? Insurance salesmen. There's thousands of them, right? And how do you get the gig? How do you get clients? Because you're all talking about the same thing. So I have insurance people writing books. I have insurance people doing podcasts, like, because no one else is. Like, if they don't go to a seminar and they realize, oh my gosh, there's so many more things that I can do to just talk about me as an insurance salesman that everyone else isn't doing, that's how you stand out. They have compliance. They can't do certain things. So I tell them to pick a hobby. What do you love doing? Photography, fishing, or something.
Well, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
That's so brilliant. So you're doing
Right?
like lifestyle content. No, I love it.
Yeah.
And you almost want to see that in their like day in the life or some real life.
So they
and
blog
who cares
about
about the tips? I mean, they can kind of weave that in. Maybe they're doing this subtle like day in the life and they just happen to be at the office. I love that. That's awesome. Keep going.
And the thing about that is, like a day in the life, you could blog about it. You could podcast about it.
Yes.
And these days, if you're not doing video now, like I used to have a radio station and it was great. Everything was audio. But if you're not doing video now, you're gone. You're out.
So I have a theory, and I want to run this by you, that a day will come not too long from now where two people meet in a bar, they bump phones, and they say, I'll subscribe to your show, you subscribe to mine.
Amen, brother.
That would be so cool.
That's where I feel this world is going. You know, they're already bumping phones for information, right?
Right.
Yeah. So now you just bump phones. Here's my podcast. Look, the world is podcasting now.
Yes.
And everyone's trying to do it. Here's the key. I teach entrepreneurs.
Right.
Entrepreneurs are known to be the laziest people in the world. They don't have a boss, so they're allowed to take the day off if they want. So I teach people, you could do a podcast by yourself. You could set it up in your house. You could buy a microphone. I even tell them the right microphone to buy. I even tell them to buy the Logitech camera and all that stuff.
Right.
But no one does it because they have to do it on their own, and they wake up one day and they're like, I'm too tired today. Oh, I look bloated today. I'm not going to do it. But if you pay to have a podcast, you better believe you're going to get your sweet ass down to the studio and do it, and everything's done for you. All you have to do is provide the content. All you have to do is interview someone, and everything else is done for you. That's what I believe the future is.
Thank you. And I want you to back me up on something, because I feel like everybody has this brand, but if you're like doing your own editing, if you're doing your own audio checks, it almost diminishes your brand. Like if Mark Victor Hansen was going to have me on his show, and he was like, "Okay, Jeff, give me a mic check." I was like, "Wait a minute, Mark, you're
doing this?
You're doing this? Don't you got people for that?"
I know. That is a major perception. It's like, okay, so this is why I'm doing this now, because if I'm the rock star guy and I'm doing a self-done podcast in my home office, what am I portraying out there? Like, I should have people working for me. I should have a staff of people running this thing for me. But like you just said about Mark Victor Hansen, if he's, wait, let me do a mic check myself.
Right.
I just dispelled every theory about being a rock star like that.
All right, I want to get Sarah back into the conversation. Sarah, I think your generation makes this idea even bigger, because my generation, the boomer generation, is still kind of like, me, do I need to be in front of the camera? But your generation is like, of course, I grew up in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Your son Caleb has grown up in front of a camera.
And he loves it. And what I'd say to, I wouldn't call y'all the older generation. You're seasoned.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
But we need you guys, and we need your content. And so I think that really helps really bridge the gap, if there is a gap. I wouldn't say there's a gap. You guys are cool. But to be able
We're
to...
cool. Did you hear that, Jeff? A millennial just said we're cool.
Hold on. Are you saying that because I'm your dad or because you're on the payroll? I need to know.
Both.
You guys are amazing. No, I promise. Like, hear me out here. To be able to, even like your favorite recipe, your Crilley chili. If you were to be dad, let's do this, okay? Because then I'm gonna like want to make that at home and like cooking with dad, or you know what I mean. Like just to be able to preserve that. Here's what's important to me, or that legacy and that tradition. You know, that's little drips of content that our grandkids will be able to see later on. You know.
The whole legacy thing she's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this whole thing that I talk about at my seminars. What legacy are we leaving?
Yes.
You know, we have the opportunity right now to show our kids, grandkids, and grandkids, if that's what they're called, who we were. And what better way to do that on a podcast than interviewing people or being interviewed from people? Like, I always tell people, get video. Like, my father just passed away. I have very rare footage of my father on video. And now that he's passed, because it happened so fast, I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I interview my dad on a podcast? I never did that. And I don't want, you know, this is one of the things I talk about. What is the legacy that you're leaving behind for your kids, your grandkids, and your grandkids, whatever they're called?
Wow. Well, okay, we only have about a minute left. So, Craig, look into the camera, talk to the viewer about why they need to become a rock star.
Oh, my God. Wait, we're on video? Oh, my God, there's a camera? Hi.
So why do people need to be a rock star?
Well, first of all, they need to be a rock star if you want to make money, first of all. You know, there's so many people in the world doing what you do. And how do you stand out from the competition? How do you do things differently? I teach people to write a book. I teach people to do podcasting right now. That's the only way. Like, if you're still sending out postcards to try to get clients, if you're still cold calling, God, if I ever cold call the rest of my life, just shoot me now. I hate cold calling. But there are things that you can do, like video and writing a book, that is easy to do. We're all overwhelmed because we think, I can't be on TV. I'm just me. But you can when you sign up for something like this. Anyway, if you do video and you do podcasting and you write a book, you will stand out from everybody else in your industry. Oh, that isn't doing that. I just hit the mic. That isn't doing that, and it's so easy to do. Everyone thinks it's so hard to do, but it isn't so hard to do if you have people doing it for you. But if you don't do it, you're just going to be like everybody else that is trying to get a client and trying to stand out from the competition, and it's just very easy to do. I don't understand why people don't go to seminars. I don't understand why people don't learn. There are so many people, I'm interrupting myself. There are so many people that are so tunnel vision of what, like Chamber of Commerce people. I go to Chamber of Commerce and I talk about podcasting and writing a book, and they're all like, why would I do that? I'm an insurance salesman. And that's exactly why you should do it, because you're an insurance salesman and no one else is doing it. Anyway.
I love it. Okay, what's the website?
CraigDuswalt.com is the main website. CraigDuswalt.com, CraigD as in David, U S as in Sam, WALT as in Tom. But to go to my events is RockYourLifeConference.com. So speaker, CraigDuswalt.com, events, RockYourLifeConference.com.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest.
You've been an amazing host.
You're a rock star.
You're a rock star.
All right, that's it for
Sarah's a
now.
rock star.
Absolutely. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.